Hello, and thank you for viewing my course on satisfying the legal requirements for homeschooling. I'm Brandy Mullins. I'm a Virginia attorney and a homeschooling mom. When I first became a mom, I did not intend to homeschool. I did not plan to homeschool. However, as my oldest child approached school age, just like so many other parents right now, I realized that he just would not do well in a classroom environment, so I decided to look into homeschooling. The reasons that people choose to homeschool are as diverse as the families who choose to do it. So first, I just want to congratulate you on doing the hard work that it takes to homeschool. It is really hard, but it's also very worth it. There is nothing like a completely individualized parent-led education. You know your child best, and you really can educate them. When families first look into homeschooling, usually the first thing they start researching is curriculum. There are about a million different types of curriculum out there. That's not what this course is about. This course is about the nuts and bolts of satisfying the legal requirements for homeschooling. Now, because this course is about a legal topic, the first thing I need to do is provide some definitions on the difference between legal advice and legal information. The DC Bar has given some good definitions of both, and so I'll use their definitions. The DC Bar says that legal advice involves offering recommendations tailored to the unique facts of a particular person's circumstances. Providing legal advice would involve the formation of an attorney-client relationship and therefore be subject to attorney-client privilege. Legal information, on the other hand, which is what you'll be getting in this course, involves discussion of legal principles, trends, and considerations. It is general legal information to help you find and understand the information that you need related to homeschooling. Legal information is generally given in a group context, or in this situation, in a publicly available online course. It is not personal legal advice and should not be relied upon to solve fact-specific individual problems. And now, with that disclaimer, let's get started figuring out what you need to do to find the information that you need to make sure you satisfy the requirements for homeschooling in your state. Now, in the United States, education is primarily a state and local issue. The 10th Amendment makes education a state's issue. So that's why the laws related to homeschooling are going to be state specific. Now, I'm an oddball because as an attorney, the first thing I thought of when I decided to homeschool wasn't what curriculum am I going to use. It was, what do I need to do to make sure that I don't get in trouble for violating any compulsory attendance requirements. Now, I was working as a magistrate at the time, and so I dealt almost exclusively with criminal law. I could quote most of the most common criminal codes that I would use in my job, but I didn't have the slightest idea of what the homeschooling laws were in my state. However, I did have an advantage because I knew where I needed to start. I knew that I needed to go to the state code in my state and research laws related to homeschooling. Now, I remember feeling a little bit overwhelmed when I first got started trying to navigate this process. And I remember being concerned about what if I don't know something that I don't know, and I end up, getting in trouble for not sending my child to school. And I thought, wow, if I feel intimidated by this process and I'm an attorney and I at least have an idea of where to start, other families must feel intimidated as well. Now, I'm a few years into this homeschooling journey at this point, and that's really what prompted me to create this course, is that my hope is that this course will make this process a little less intimidating for you. Now, the first thing that I would recommend for families who are homeschooling and want to make sure they don't miss any requirements is that you create a checklist that you're going to come back to year after year. So you're going to create a checklist for each child that you're homeschooling, for each year that you're homeschooling. And this is where you're going to list all of the requirements that are specific to your state that you need to make sure that you are satisfying, and any deadlines. You're going to put this checklist in a folder, and this is also where you would keep all of your correspondence to and from your school district superintendent, any of your child's standardized test scores, any of their evaluations or assessments, any other records that your state requires you to keep. And we'll go through all of those throughout this course, what different types of records you need to be, records requirements you need to be looking out for. But you're going to put everything in this one folder. And something you'll hear me say over and over is to keep good records, because prevention is better than cure. It's much better to have this information and not need it than to need it and not have it. As far as how long I would keep it forever. I would keep it for the duration of your child's education, even if at some point you end up sending them, to public school or private school or whatever. I would keep this folder for the duration of their education, just in case you ever need to come back to it for any reason. Now, for the checklist, I'm going to provide a template, and now it's going to be based on the Virginia requirements. However, the exact requirements for homeschooling, like I said, are going to be state specific. If you happen to be in Virginia, great, you can use it as is. But if you're not, don't worry, because this is still going to be incredibly useful for you. This is just a template, and we're going to go through this in the next videos, and we're going to go line by line and talk about what you need to be looking for, where you need to be looking, what you need to be looking for to create your individualized checklist to make sure that you never miss a requirement, that you never miss a deadline, and that you never are hearing from your school superintendent saying that your homeschooling is being placed on probation, or that you need to come to court because you're not sending your child to school. All right, so in the next video, we will start with the notice of intent requirement. And if you'll just have that checklist ready, and when we begin the next video, and we will start line by line talking about what you need to be looking for, where you need to be looking, how to find it, and how to make sure that you never miss a homeschooling requirement in your state. See you in the next video.